Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome to Satsang. You see, Satsang is created by a certain kind of search. Actually, everybody is born because it brings with the birth a search. A search not to die. Because you believe you are born, so that a death has to come. It's duality. There is no escape. And for that, one wants to escape that anxiety, searching love or happiness or peace or even pleasures, trying to fulfill that. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it works, but still one feels more and more frustrated because it doesn't last. Anyway, it's a long story of the human beings. And because of that deep feeling of separation or something which doesn't make one complete or happy, suddenly it makes sense if he listen. It's because you don't know who you really are. And then maybe all this need, compulsion to fulfill whatever ideas you have, they may not be as essential. So satsang is for those who have seen enough, maybe, and it doesn't mean in time, it can be when you are young or older. When one has seen enough that the world is beautiful, sure, and yet I'm not well. So how come? Who is creating all this world I am in? Who believes I am born? Who wants what? So finally, it really makes sense to hear. You have to question the reality of the one you think you are, of this I. Everything starts with I. I am born, I live, I have this, I search, I don't search anymore. I is always there. And not I alone, it's an I with qualities. So again, nothing wrong with that. And yet, to spare, to give, my master, Papaji, was telling a split second to disengage yourself from your beliefs may allow you to see that your real nature is not yours. What is always there. You are always that. What looks like preventing it is that you listen to your mind. You listen to the reality of experiences, let it be in the body, in the feelings, or in the mind. So that can be questioned. The great sages questioned it. who is this I? Who am I in fact? And to realize the direction, the answer of it, it cannot be an experience of the body or of the feelings or of the mind. Otherwise, the circle will be again the same. So the answer is just to allow what is common to all beings to be realized. It's self-realized with the interference of nobody, not even of the I who was searching. So I think this is essential to realize oneself. Life continues if you don't die before. To realize oneself. Life will continue with its duality, but it's then up to your attraction, up to your sense of deepest, treasurable gift to have seen what is, to make you disengage sometimes, just to obviously be what is. So it is not so much a remedy to the duality, to the life. Life may become, of course, more beautiful, and yet you cannot avoid the duality. The suffering can also show up. So it's up to one to value, extremely value, what he has seen, or to encourage to realize what is my real nature in fact. That's all I can say. So if you have any question in your journey, please ask, we never know our luck. And if you don't have any question, we are always happy to be together. So I don't have more course to give. I'm not a teacher, but I may be happy to answer your questions. I don't see so well all your faces, but because of the light, but it's we will manage, huh? Don't be shy, huh? Yes, please. Hi.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I've been witnessing the mind for a few years now.
Yeah.
And,
thank you.
I think previously, prior to that, I had a handle on my mind. I thought I did. No, it seems like I'm witnessing my mind and I'm thinking, or I'm feeling that's radical.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the reins are off the mind. The mind's free to just do what it wants to do.
Yeah.
So in a way I feel like I'm going backwards.
Yeah, because you see, actually the question is not solved because you become a witness now.
Yeah.
And of course, it's also very important to be clear about what's the mind and to see that actually there is no much control about it. It's a creation in itself. It's the expression of your real nature, in fact. But there is a witness too much.
Too much.
Too much?
Wow.
Because you see, before what you said of yourself was, I don't know, I am a man, a father, an husband, whatever. And now this I has changed roles. It dresses differently because of some search, because of some practice.
Yeah.
So I became a witness, but I is still there.
Yes.
It's of what you think of yourself now.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
So that's too much? Yes, be freed from that.
Surrender.
Surrender? You have the good answer. Surrender means, what do you mean by surrender?
Peace.
No, that is the result of surrender.
Yeah. What do I mean by surrender? I mean...
Don't catch even this identity that you are a witness. Who are you? In fact, who are you? Are you anybody?
No.
No. Honor that.
Because everything else is in transition and changes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But this remains.
This remains to be not to be anybody.
Not to be anybody.
But then treasure that, even though, of course, because this body is still alive, that body brings I and his world, but now you have seen that I is in the creation and that my real nature, even though I don't know what it is, but I at the same time know very well that there is nobody there.
Yes.
So don't give so much value to be a witness or not to be a witness.
I see.
Be freed from labels.
Yeah.
They will show up, huh? Because of, as I say, because of habits, because of this life continues, and that. But let them just play their role according to circumstances. Don't believe, don't fix them, oh, that's what I am. Okay. Happy you?
These are for you.
You knew in advance. You have such a faith today. Thank you. Well, is there some water? Yeah, here. I will put some water in my glass and then. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Yep. Voila. Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you.
Please. Anybody is doing some practice and feels stuck or would like to have some more clarity, or please feel free, because it's your right, it's your right to solve something if there is still something. And you never know if it is here or somewhere else, but yeah, please.
I have a reoccurring story that's even boring to me, but keeps going on.
Well, it's boring for a while, but if you are hypnotized by it, it's super boring. Things are sometimes very boring, but then let it pass. If they repeat it all the time, it means you are somehow hypnotized by that. And sometimes, very strangely, one is hypnotized by some boring or negative or by a suffering, because it maintains a personal existence. You see? So, but it's too late. You are already what is common to all. So, you can disengage yourself from the hypnotism. Nothing will happen. The boredom may come still sometimes, but not it will leave place to other things too. You see, you are already, this is the amazing thing. One is already that. It's said, in India, you are that. You can call it, you are the self, you are that which is common to all beings. You cannot confine it even to universal qualities too. They may show up, but they show up and they disappear too. So, you are that. Surrender your mind not to try to know what it is. It will fail. So, what? What do we do now with what you said? It's called freedom, you see, because freed from the beliefs we carry. Even it goes so far that the belief to be a human being looks like I'm mad if I don't think I'm a human being. It's not that. Of course, one is in human being as a form and as a name. But here one wants to realize what's already there, what's always available. What's a gift to take refuge there, you see. And the rest, one will get the life it needs to live, that's all. And that will be done by itself. Mm-hmm. Yeah?
You said first that as we are born, we're dealing with the fear of death.
Yeah.
And
maybe not consciously, but that deep anxiety is there.
Yes. And then I assume we create an identity through our life, just knowing that the body will die and we just want something to carry on.
Yeah,
and
right.
And then we would make up all of that, the name, the story, the influence, some kind of legacy even. Mm-hmm. With something that will remain after life.
Yeah.
After
Nothing wrong with that, but it's not who you are.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering. It almost feels like most of the meaning that we have in life is derived from that confusion. And I'd ask you, how can you describe the world that does not have that meaning, where everyone is free in the sense that you suggest?
It's the same world, but you don't place yourself truly as a person. With experiences, with experiences, you see, it's whatever happens is personal experiences. But for some reason, in that instantaneous realization of what is, it puts all those values in a sense that you know very well that it is in the creation. And when the mind is busy, it's called even samsara. You see, it is... samsara is, what do you expect from samsara, you see? It's dual. You cannot have a hope there in a real sense. But I cannot describe that, because already the self expresses itself as it is.
Is there something that in the world that needs to be changed profoundly?
I think what has to be changed profoundly is the idea of that one carries about his self or this self. And from there you see everybody, if still alive, has a kind of his life is a creation of that, isn't it? So he has a kind of direction. You can call it a destiny, even though once you realize who you are, you don't live, you are not bound with that destiny, and yet the destiny will show up. So that's not a choice, the destiny of everyone. You may continue as a very ordinary person in the eyes of others. You may be an extraordinary person suddenly, or the seeds were already there before. You can be unknown, you can be very known. Actually, it has no value. In the creation, of course, it has values. And it's better to... I always respect those who at least speak of peace and harmony and trying to make the world better. But you see, it's the life of an idealist, which may be successful, but still it's not who you really are. So, in that field, I am not touching it even. I just tell, look, what I know is realize who you are, and from there you will have no more questions even about this. It will just flow as it has to flow, and that you know profoundly.
So there is no ultimate perfection for everyone and everything forever.
But it is perfect.
How is it different from beautiful?
Perfection
and beauty, is there a difference?
It's all the same. Love, peace, real joy, beauty. According to every character, that one will be better than the other, but it means all the same. It points out to all the same. Some are more symbols of one of those qualities, maybe, but it is the expression of that. It's all the same. Yeah.
So these universal attributes that you spoke of before aren't there?
Sorry, because universal attributes?
Attributes you mentioned before.
Yeah.
They're really also part of this invention.
It's part of the creation. Is how what is expresses itself. You see, what is expresses itself all the time, ad infinitum. That's why one speaks of a total unexpected split of a second of realization. It's like suddenly for a split second, it's really out of time, you realize what is. Otherwise, that expresses itself all the time. And those personal expressions and those universal expressions are part of its creation. And you see, if you identify with one of the expression, sooner or later you suffer. Because a creation, what is the quality of a creation? It's unsubstantial. It appears, it disappears. It may last long, but it still disappears. Then what? So better to go for the real thing, and then after all that will be lived. There will be no question about this. That's my suggestion. And it doesn't mean that one will become like a vegetable. In the contrary, listen well, everyone has, this body has a destiny. Let it be ordinary, let it be extraordinary, it will be done. It's not the choice of someone. Yes, sorry. Yes.
I've been drawn to doing some.
Sorry.
I've been drawn to doing inquiry with somatic work recently.
Magic work.
Somatic, yeah. So I'm just curious as to what you feel have wisdom around that, whether you feel it's a useful.
Look, to me, everybody does what he likes, or what fits to him or to her. I am not concerned with that.
You're not
Concerned.
up.
Because I feel that all those questions, even this one, for example, it drops and the work is done as it should be done through each one when you know yourself. So if for you it's fulfilling and you feel you help others through that, do it as long as it fits. Who knows how long? Maybe it will be all your life, maybe you will suddenly question, but what is this magic? What is the meaning of it? Who am I, in fact? You know, all this comes in its own time. And that cannot be forced also.
So I have a sense of what you're pointing towards in itself is holding this experience that I'm having in the somatic. It's something, like it's just part of the play or the creation that it's arising in. Is this?
Whatever is expressed is creation, isn't it? Yes, and is a creation of that. Now, what happens is that often one says, "Oh, I am a great magician, so I do it." Okay, let's see how long.
Yeah.
But if you don't base yourself there, nothing is wrong. That's why I don't touch the way of life and what people find the best, or it's perfect, yes, why not, you see? Yes. So in that way I have no solution for the life.
No solution?
For the life. I just have a solution to disengage yourself for a split second if but you have to want it. Yeah? You have to find that this is more important. If I have to die soon, what do I want to achieve? At least one thing. And for those where it's that which is the essential, then they go for it, and then the rest will follow. It depends. There is no obligation of anything. It's just everyone has a demand, and that demand has to be fulfilled. Yeah.
What do you think? Why do you think the mind is there? Like the mind and the ego? Because if we're on a journey back to remembering what is.
Yeah, because if we didn't have that mind, we would never know about ourselves. Very paradoxal. Yeah. Very funny. If we were not in our mind, then why to put a question? Why to want to know anything? But the person, you see, this shape is born with a mind. So that's why there are different search. There's search for outside, there's search for the inner world of a person, and there is a search to be freed from the mind, from the tyranny of the mind. The mind will always present itself up to the last breath, but one can be freed from the tyranny of the mind before. Means by knowing what is already there and what is common to all, what is always available, but we are engaged with the mind so we don't see it. It looks like one veils it. It's just a question of being disengaged, totally disengaged, a split second. And to know, to have heard, that's it. That's it. Then it will free you from searching. You may still do things, but it will free you from searching. Yeah.
About being free from the search. Somehow there's intuition in us, well, in people I know at least, that we want to know for some reason, as if there's something, like we're stepping on the shoulders or standing on the shoulders of all the ancestors, and they've done something, and that's in us now, and we all keep searching and searching through generations.
Yeah.
And that intuition, it feels so strong that there's in us this, we're not just enjoying life. Even when we achieve everything, next day, there's something else, and in the end we have to look inside somehow and
But that's you see, that's beautiful. It has its honorable, how you say, letters, or I don't know in English.
Yes.
It's beautiful, but I'm not into that. It's beautiful. I am into the one who is fed up to have tried so many ways and he has no answer. He is completely despaired, hopeless, helpless. And there, it may have a meaning to hear, know thyself. Forget about ancestors now. They will still be there in the creation, but know thyself first. But I don't want to touch, because you see, if it is good for you, then I have nothing to say. Now, if you ask me where I place that, I just reply to you.
It's more of they sometimes feel like they're opposing powers, the desire to disconnect and then stay with this responsibility for the intuitions that we have, as if it's self-serving to disconnect.
Listen, don't you think it's also, if you want to speak of responsibility, we have a very long evolution. And suddenly this evolution suggests you may be free to believe that you are part of the evolution. It may make no sense. It may even look like a mad idea, but for some not. And I am among those. For me, it was not a mad idea. It was an idea who made me hear something else than what is offered in the world. And that was the voice of the wise. Know thyself. But what do you mean? But then, of course, that is the part of this journey. And here, you don't touch not only your ancestor, you try not even to touch your person. It's not a way of life. It's not like suddenly somebody will be a zombie and, I'm nobody while it... No. It's just to have this moment of realizing what is always here. But it cannot be caught by feelings, by the mind and by the body. I cannot explain more than that.
It's beautifully explained, thank you. It feels like this then is the pinnacle of evolution after all. That moment.
We have not to put a pride there. It's just that it ends the evolution, sure. Even though, as a form, still alive, you are still part of it. Of course. Yeah.
Talk a little about Dharma.
Dharma.
About Dharma, yeah. Because I'm kind of like, I'm listening to what you're saying and then I'm very curious, like, why are you here and why are you doing this work? What is Dharma for you? And
it's a Buddhist word, huh? Dharma.
Well, they use it in
Sanskrit.
It's Sanskrit also. It means, just to make sure that we have the same meaning about that word. The Dharma is what? It is a work which is...
Like your calling, your purpose in life. Like, what I'm asking is, why are you doing the work that you're doing?
Yeah, of course.
Because
So,
you can speak for yourself.
okay, I understand. The Dharma, so it's not like karma, it's Dharma, means it has a high purpose.
Yeah.
As I say, you don't choose your Dharma. You may have a Dharma even if you are free, for example, from beliefs. You can have a Dharma which doesn't look like anything. And some have charismatic Dharma for many, and some for small group, and some for even reduced. It doesn't matter. It's not a choice. You cannot choose your Dharma. It falls on you. It was already seen maybe before, the direction of it, and sometimes not. It just appears. And there is no sense of degrees or qualities here. Everyone who is a free being, it's an expression, funny one, but what to say otherwise, has a wonderful Dharma, even if it doesn't look like. It's not up to you to choose your Dharma. And what is the best, what a gift, you see, to have realized that even though one may, as a person, may be very identified in his life, but as he has seen what is, there is a kind of spontaneous wisdom which suddenly will make him give up. Even if it is for a second, it doesn't matter. Oh, all this is the dream, it's the expression of that. What am I doing? And then all disappears. That's also beautiful Dharma. You see, one tries to comprehend, to understand this whole play. You can see things. It's true that a few figures are just like, oh, that's the saint of our times, or the liberated one, or one does a job which is more obvious to others. But all free beings have a fantastic Dharma. Who cares if it is seen or unseen?
Then it's like, I'm just sort of feeling like, okay, well, if everything is just unfolding in the moment and we're here in this moment because this is just what's happening, like, is there a future and a past and a Dharma and all of this? Like, if...
But as long as you have a body, you see, there will be something. This is time, huh? Yeah. Yes. As a form, there is time. But don't worry, you cannot figure it out what's good for you. It will be done anyway. It doesn't need your approbation or your acknowledgement. But of course, if you don't know yourself, then of course, those questions are important. Trying not to do wrong or whatever is your ideal. That's not my problem. Because I feel, as a person, you can move only in duality. And that is the suffering, to believe that duality is the only reality. That's all I can say. Yeah.
How do you recommend we know ourselves?
Don't hook at this question. What happens? Don't hook at another one. What's here?
So easy to get lost in what we think when we say what's here. It's so easy to get lost in...
I didn't hear.
I find it easy to get lost in false ideas of my own perception.
But all ideas are false.
Yeah.
All ideas are false. That's what I say. Disengage yourself from this question and don't grasp immediately another question. Where is the idea? Idea comes only if you pick up your mind again. Yeah.
Following this saying, do you recommend a form of meditation or a form of attitude?
You know, I recommend to be obsessed by self-inquiry, whatever you do. And that brings you sometimes moment of natural meditation, or sometimes in the peak of activity, you cannot do differently than to suddenly, oh, but who is doing that? And you see, be invaded by self-inquiry. That will do the job, whatever you do. Know that if it is so, know that it's so important, I don't want to solve that. And so there is only one direction, because you see, what is available and which is not personal. I forgot what I wanted to say. I forgot.
I was asking you about the meditation or way to work with this.
But then you become a meditator, and it's again a meditator too much. What you will do with the meditator, it's better, because you see, any idea of I as a person is a step away, let's say, or a step after what is. What is prior to everything. Is even prior to the idea I have to meditate, or I am a meditator, or I am a witness. And that will give you the space to love it more and more, it.
But just this, it's already a mental attitude towards whatever happens to you.
You
and
see?
whatever you perceive.
Yes.
That's a kind of form, I would say, meditation. You could call you as a watcher, you don't try to interfere, you just let the game unfolding.
Yeah. Okay.
It's already an attitude.
Yes. Now, who is the meditator? Where do you go when you ask this question? It's a question of the mind. But there is absolutely a unique question, because it's a subjective question. Subjective is the unique in the mind. And it leads you from where I arose. That's a real meditation.
And in this case, what question are we talking about?
Huh? Oh, I didn't hear. What
Okay,
is...
that's the question, but it's like, what was the question we have? What question?
Who is the meditator?
Oh, so that's the phenomena in high.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's already a question.
It is a question, because one is in the mind, believes so. So there is a tool to give a subjective thought. So it's still a thought. It's a subjective one, because where is the direction? All question is, I have to meditate. So you are busy to not to be engaged, to remove, to give up, to what not, negate, what not. Okay, so it's always busy with something. Now if you ask, who is doing that? Without accepting any answer, which will be a thought again. Where it leads you, at the source of I, and that's the answer, which the mind cannot catch. So the thoughts are vanished. Otherwise, I don't say bad of practice. Practice are absolutely needed, And generally, at some point, when one is very committed to those practices, which brings one from outside to inside, suddenly you find yourself in satsang. Because it made you ready to hear maybe this. You are not only, because all the practices are based on I am someone. You see? So, the question, but who is this someone? The answer cannot be in what you have been busy with, otherwise it creates someone again. So it's very simple actually. You simply follow, or where the question ends, this is it. That's what's common to all. And then the mind again, dum, 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 dum. But now you know. That's what they mean by I am that. And then the mind. Yeah.
Does it take courage to speak the truth like this? Or is courage not even part of the equation?
To speak the truth, who speaks the truth?
The way you speak.
Me? No, it's my passion. It's not a courage.
Is this natural?
Yes. Well, at least if there is a demand, otherwise I keep quiet. Shut up. Yes. What's your name?
Antaratma.
Atma?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
We are taught this concept of karma yoga, and I think it's very close to what you were saying when you are pretty much just doing what you're doing, but you are inquiring and observing yourself in doing that. So it is also said that if it's selfless, it makes it that much easier to attain whatever it is to attain, though there's no answer, but it comes. Would you say that selflessness is a helpful tool?
But you see, as a person, how can you be selfless? It's impossible. You can be humbler and humbler, but there is still somebody, and that's a pride.
As in, fake it until you make it. Try and help everyone.
I speak radically.
Yes.
I don't say it's bad, but one has to see a cat is a cat and truth is truth and whatnot is not. So I just say that. I have absolute, in the contrary, do good, why not? But know what is what. Yes. Yes, it's fun, no?
Where does passion for the truth come from?
From the truth.
For the truth. You said I speak because I have passion. Where does passion for the truth come from?
Happily, I don't ask this question to myself. I would reply to you from what is, otherwise, then what else? Yeah. Yes, somebody.
Je baillais, je pas levé la main pour une question.
Oui, tu veux parler en français?
Oui.
Oh, somebody, Mukti has to translate. Okay?
Non, c'était pas ça qu'elle voulait dire.
Ah, je sais pas. So no question.
Pardon?
No question.
No, I was just saying in French, I raised my hand to yawn, not to
Ah, to yarn! It's so boring! I know, I don't give much too much. That. Yes. Mm.
So the state that you're talking about, is it what we would say just to be?
Just to be.
That would be what
But
it
what
is
does
to
it
be.
mean? Everybody has a meaning about it. It's just to be when you don't put a meaning. But otherwise you are caught in the concept or idea of your mind, you see. So, but you can say so, yeah. The mind is so tricky that then it starts to ask to be or not to be, just to be or just not to be, and so on. You see, the mind is too much. Yeah.
We have all that is, but once the mind picks up, we're in neurosis. Like neurotic. Like neurosis. Once the mind
Neurosis, yeah.
Once the mind does its thing with what is. Once our mind picks up and starts, it's like we're in neurosis. We're separated from what is.
Yeah, I think the word separation is enough. We don't need to put neurosis on top, otherwise it becomes a bit too much.
Well, that's what I was
A sense
saying,
of
that
separation you may feel.
But the suffering,
Yes.
is this constant mind. Yes, no, that's
Exactly. We suffer because it looks one is caught in the mind, in what the mind suggests and offers and what not. And it's true for this body-mind. It's true. Everybody lives differently the life, but who can say he has never been bitten by the life? I don't think somebody could raise his hand. So it happens that one searches, but then what's the meaning of life? I'm fed up. I tried so many things. I even tried to be so good, or even not so, whatever, you see. What's the meaning of life? And then you hear the meaning of life, even forget that. Asked, what is the meaning to give a label to yourself? Why do you think you have to live with this prison as I think I am so? It's only the mind who says so. Only the mind. And he will continue to say so. He may give up many concepts, of course, but I mean, don't think that the mind will present itself all the time in a certain state forever. States go and come. So if you run after a state, okay, maybe you think it's like that, but who knows what you will do when that state that you achieved with big efforts, and then when it goes, where you will go? To satsang maybe. Where you see even a state, even the most, you see what you read, blissful and love and whatnot, is still a state. It's an expression, one of those pure expression of the self. But don't confuse that for what is. It will still show up sometimes. But then you don't care about the sometimes, because you know it's the way it has to be. It's a creation. While before it may look so important that a state is permanent and blissful, loving or whatever state it is. So, one takes it or not, it's not it's not an imposition. It's just if one suffers to have tried a lot and to fail. I'm still this bloody one after having followed so many gurus and whatnot and practices and what. Some don't say so, but those who say so, hey, you're right, and it's totally natural because you forgot to see who you are. Not so? But you see, that has to come in oneself. Otherwise, he will run after his dreams, which is totally okay. Because when the dream is fulfilled, then maybe he may ask, who got the dream? Who was it? A dreamer? Actually, I am for those who are fed up. And otherwise, I don't speak and we can just be as it has to be. Mm-hmm. Yes. Why not?
Buddhists talk about this concept of enlightenment and
enlightenment, yeah.
Yes, and also being a bodhisattva and once you have achieved enlightenment, coming back and spreading it and teaching and being helping others to reduce their suffering. Is this what you're doing? Is this what motivates you to be here now?
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I must say, I have a very nice. Papaji was reading to me Diamond Sutra. I loved Heart Sutra and Diamond Sutra. And suddenly he said, oh, they speak of bodhisattvas. Huh? And he said, yes, of course. When a thought goes back to the source, it's a bodhisattva. It's a bodhisattvic thought to bring all the thoughts to its source. Otherwise, you are a Buddha or a bodhisattva. Who knows?
You know.
Only somebody else knows. You don't need to know. When you are a seeker, you need to know, to be clear, where I place myself, what I am thinking of myself, where is my pride, where is my humbleness, where is this and that. Once you have seen that the mind is just a wonderful tool, but in the creation, not to know yourself, then you will not stop at any fantastic idea of the mind even. You may enjoy it, or you may laugh about it, or you may not like it, but you will not stop at it.
Would you say it's like perceiving anything as a story, just like a story that helps us to orient ourselves while we're alive, but still knowing that it's not the reality?
It's important. I mean, if you want to know from where all this comes from, which is your real nature, but not as a you, which is not belonging to anybody. You see, when one speaks of enlightenment, I think everybody passed through that he thought, I will be enlightened. But as a person, no. Enlightenment is not for a person. It's when you finally give up the pride to be a person. As a person, don't try to be enlightened. It will not work. It will be only sometimes. So. Yeah.
I've been to Tiruvannamalai twice. I've been to see Murji and Rishikesh, and yet come back. My daily work is in government, just in an office. But it's...
Your desk is the Ganga.
Beautiful. No more questions.
That's a vision.
Otherwise, you see, you are like a bag of rice coming from China, going to India, and so on. Only the mind locates and compare. So try not to be enslaved to that. Ramana said, Papaji, I mean, all the sages say, wherever you are, you are. Now if you confuse you are for a happening, for a becoming, then of course that goes on changing.
Yeah.
Ganga, what about vigilance?
You see, I think there are many stages of vigilance. When you are a seeker, you try to be vigilant to make yourself inquiry and all that. When that's done, when the seeker disappears, there is, I think, a natural wisdom which rises whenever you are a bit too much engaged in the creation. So it's a natural vigilance out of love of your own self. Otherwise, you see, you think that there is not such a thing as a permanent state. And there is not such a thing also as a non-permanent state. So, vigilance and at the same time natural, it's not. You see, vigilance, once you have done with your search, it's out of love for that also. As a form, you see, of course we are identified sometimes this and that and what not, and you are confronted with things as anybody else. But that love for it makes it suddenly obvious. Oh, where are you? And that's enough. One, I think, even as a form, one sees more and more how treasurable it is. Even though he lives, no? But he knows. What do you say?
Well, I see the gaps in the mind, and then the mind runs off it goes.
Yeah.
And woo!
Yeah, but you know, not always.
No.
When you are identified, but don't you have that suddenly you wake up by itself?
But that's by itself, yes.
Yeah. So then what?
Even effort towards vigilance seems to be almost like.
Can you make an effort to be vigilant of what?
No.
Of something.
See, this is it. So where does that come from? So it even, for me, raises questions about even this so-called search was given. This is one doesn't have any. Can't even say that. I can't even say that I'm vigilant.
They're lucky you don't. It's okay. I mean, you see, when one is busy with his mind, there are many questions. Many questions. But once one has seen what is a mind, we know that the real answer will not be through the mind. It will be when you disengage from your thought.
But see, even in this statement, when you disengage, that is as though that there's some volition in that.
Somewhat?
Some volition, some...
volition, yeah, understand.
Yeah, and I question this volition.
You question as what?
The capacity for volition.
No, it is out of love, or out of the treasure it is to have realized yourself. That comes naturally. Before, in the search, of course, it's be vigilant. If you are serious into that, be vigilant. Be busy with self-inquiry. There are so many indications towards that. But after, when Papaji says also, up to your last breath, be vigilant, it's because it's not a permanent state. Nothing is a permanent state. There is not such a thing as a permanent state. And who you are, it is its own play to be in the creation and out of it. Okay? So, you can say that once you have seen who you are, there is a natural vigilance. Because okay, you can enjoy, you can suffer too, but you know what is precious. You know the luck. And you know it may not come again. Who knows? So in that way, okay, enough for a split second. Something happened? That's why you see those who are done with their search, maybe what is their vigilance? They read text regarding that because they love it. They find, wow, that's it, I love it. So sometimes they dedicate time to that. Some they dedicate time to do nothing, just a moment of chai and, freed from the mind. Some they do differently. It's out of a natural vigilance, a love for it.
Papa once said that even he could fall.
He could?
He could fall in reference to somebody. He was saying, even I can fall. He said that. So, for even in his, that statement anyway.
But I think it just means that you cannot be guaranteed that, okay, once for all, I know this is the creation. No, that's not like that. Of course, once for all, you know it's the creation. When you are not in the creation, you can say so. Otherwise, what? I'm enlightened, I have a badge. Okay. And what? They have to make effort to maintain this so-called enlightenment. It fails. Huh?
Not if you are. Once you jump, you jump. What have we thought?
Papaji is outrageous to have spoken like this. It's great. It's great.
He would, every time he saw a picture of Ramana, he would bow. And I thought that was, to continue that surrender, that sense of surrender. I thought that was very beautiful.
No, I just loved him.
Yeah.
How to show your love to your guru. Only like that. Huh? He said how to thank you. By being it. Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
The love that you mentioned, I can feel it's a good key in everything you say. You mentioned a few times love, that it comes from love, and this is the love of the Guru. So, can you tell us more about the path of love, or love, when you say love?
No, I don't speak of love. I cannot speak of love.
Okay.
You cannot speak of peace. You cannot speak of... You can mention to attract for those who suffer. It's beautiful to tell them, look, there is something, maybe something else than what you think. But in reality, you cannot speak of those things. It's impossible. You still have questions, Prem?
Oh, not really.
Okay.
There was on Facebook, of course, there's so many Papaji pictures, and there's one recently going around about that towards the end of this search, all demons come. And they try whatever they can to prevent this.
Yeah, Buddha is known at the Bodhi tree, and then all these monsters and dancers too.
Yes. Everybody is coming, and he says you must be playful with this.
Not to?
You must be playful. Remain playful with that. Not to be. Does anybody remember this? Didn't we see this quote recently? Papaji said, you must somehow keep your head above the water, be playful with it, so you don't get caught, but you don't get serious either.
If one understands, it's very nice.
Yeah, I like this very much. Yeah. This also reminds me of, I can't remember, because I didn't study so much, but where Lord Shiva destroyed 3 demon kingdoms with one laugh.
Oh. And what is the connection? Yes.
Yeah, well, for me, it's this, the mind still ticks over, but you can just laugh.
Yeah.
It's just the mind ticks over, just laugh.
Yeah, so laugh a bit more. Anyway. So.
I was just thinking, I was just looking at you and feeling, and Papa, I just quoting Papa again, but he said when he was asked what did he learn from satsang about, and he said about truth I learned nothing, but about love I learned so much. And when I heard you say I can't talk about love, I was thinking that when you talk with love, you are talking about love. And you seem to show that in my humble opinion.
You see, if you are enslaved or depend on the mind, even if you utter anything, it will make an image out of it. And then, if you are deluded, you want to fit that image and you make a lot of effort to arrive there. The mind, tricks of the mind, terrible. So, be free. Be free. The mind is a beautiful tool. It's a beautiful creation, but not to be enslaved by the mind. No, this is the thing. So, it's beautiful to see all of you. Huh? Thank you very much.